Welcome everyone. And sorry, I think we did overrun by 2 minutes because we were just facing a couple of technical glitches to start. So I won't take up too much of our time. The valedictory address is by Mr. Shiv Khera on equitable leadership for a new world to turn setbacks into comebacks. Hosting the session is the Chief Operating Officer of TalentNomics, Binoo Wadhwa. Hi, Binoo. I'm going to take a minute. Binoo has taken this lockdown to learn bridge. I think Binoo is preparing for an early retirement. Also, if you notice that Binoo will rush through her lines a little bit because Binoo is heading for a holiday to the hills just as soon as the conference ends. So let's keep her as long as we can. Binoo, over to you and Mr. Khera to start.
Thank you, Anish. I don't know what I should say thank you, but thanks nevertheless. And welcome, Mr. Shiv Khera. So to tell a little about Mr. Shiv Khera, he's an author, an educator, a business consultant, and a much sought after speaker. Truly speaking, Mr. Khera does not need any introduction. He's someone who's inspired many individuals to reach their true potential through all his books, through his workshops, international workshops, and at COVID times, can you believe it? He's had 75 webinars where 1 million people have benefited by participation. We are so fortunate to have him share his thoughts with us today. Over to you, Mr. Shiv Khera. Thank you for coming and agreeing to talk to everyone.
Words. And in fact, I have to thank all of you people because you know what? Counting this webinar, this is my 100th. I hit my century. I was 90.
Oh, wonderful.
With this one, it becomes the 100th one. So I'm grateful to all of you. Indeed. Now, let me share with you something because this is talking of the grit and great grace and especially the greatness of the women part I'll share with you. Neeta, here, this is something on the lighter side. So kindly bear with me, something on the lighter side. You see, once there was a few people got sort of stranded in an island and a rescue team came and a helicopter came and they dropped the ladder and which could only hold 10 people, but there were 11. Out of the 11, Binoo, 10 were men, 1 was a woman.
Okay.
Only 1. Now they had a choice, all 11 hang in and everybody gets dead, or one of them should let go and let the other 10 live. So now the big question is who is going to let go? That's the big question. Well, finally, nobody volunteered. The woman volunteered. And she said, look, I volunteer to let go. And the reason I would let go is because women are sensitive people right from childhood, and they have lived and believed in sacrifice. Neeta, they have lived and believed in sacrifice all through their life. They sacrifice for their parents, they sacrifice for their husband, sacrifice for their children, sacrifice for society. So I will let go. So one of the men of the 10 got so impressed with the great speech, they said she deserves a standing ovation. So everybody gave an ovation, and guess who were dead? They all were gone, and the woman was the only one who was left there. But anyway, that is one part of the whole picture. But anyway, regardless, now when I had spoken to Neeta and Swati and people last time, I was thinking of the woman who has had some of the greatest impact in the world. And the 4 women that came to my mind one was Margaret Thatcher. 2 was Golda Meir, the first prime minister of Israel, who was the founder. She was the founding member of the creation of Israel. And the 3rd was Mother Teresa, and 4th was Rosa Parks. Now, these 4 women came straight into my mind, and now these 4 women, because of Margaret Thatcher was considered as the Iron Lady, won 3 elections, literally changed the whole world, and the kind of situation that she had to face, the Falkland War, she did not hesitate to take any step, and she sent the troops right away and moved alone all straight. So she was very clear. To the Golda Meir, why she became famous was that during in the Israeli occupations, there were some holdings that were there, and she had no problem in demolishing all of them because her first priority was the people of Israel, and she had no problem with taking a decision. And Mother Teresa sacrificed her life a lot all through, coming from the West, and Rosa Parks was a demonstration of great courage, a colored lady who was literally forced to go back, and she refused, and eventually she fought and came back. Now, these were the 4 examples, and of course, all of you people, if I repeat it, it doesn't make any sense. The 7 prime ministers of the 7 countries, the women, who they have handled the corona crisis pretty well, whether it was Taiwan or New Zealand or Germany, any one of these things, you are familiar with. Now, my big question is, was the crisis handled because they were women? And all the 4 names that I took before to you, they did what they did because they were women? No. The reason why they did was the quality they had was guts, wisdom, vision, all those things. They, in my opinion, are gender neutral. They are not gender specific. I repeat, they are gender neutral. They are not gender specific. Now, comes to the next side. What is gender specific? You keep hearing all the time that we are born equal. Everybody is born equal. And my answer is, no, we are not born equal. I repeat, some are born tall, some are short, some are born in rich, wealth, and some are born in poverty. And you see, if you look at the last 100, 200, 500 years, pretty much every war that has taken place, the people who have died, almost 100% people who died were men. Now, that is one part. The second part is 100% of victims of rapes are women all over the world. And third is pretty much all newborn babies come out of women. That's biological fact. Now, are we creating you equal? No, we're not. Now, let me come back to a woman born in Switzerland. She is born in a hygienic situation, comes up well in a healthy environment, grows up with good education, and she has all the opportunities, and she can choose a life partner. Now, that is a woman born in Switzerland. But a woman born in a third world country, even before that woman reaches puberty, she might be sold as a sex worker. Are you with me? Nita, are you with me?
Yes.
You see, we are not born equal. If we are born totally equal, that is a perfect world. This is not a perfect world. Okay, now coming to the pandemic that we are going through right now. Yes, there are multiple things. The biggest damage that has happened is to women and children. Why? Because many people who have actually quit or packed up their jobs, my last statistics I heard was that 70%, 80% were women. There is discrimination from that perspective. Now, why did they quit? That's one part. And number 2 is that a woman for the same job, they get almost 70% of the salary packages. This is biased, totally unfair. Now, coming to the third part is that in many boardrooms, there are 20 people and they have one woman. If there's one woman, that is more like a token thing there. That is more like a token. But if there's one woman, that's a token. But if there are 2 women, that is support group. And 3 women, they're critical mass. Are you with me?
Yeah.
1 woman as a token, 2 is support, and 3, if you have 3 women in a board, that's a critical mass.
True.
They come forward. Now, considering the current scenario, the biggest brunt that has been taken over is by the woman, because many places where people are used to getting help has not been coming from outside because of quarantine. And 2, children are not going to school. There are no schools. So that means kids are not going to school. So all housework and taking care of the kids and domestic everything is come down to the woman here. Now, she's literally working 3 shifts, not 2 shifts, literally 3 shifts. And this is true all over the world. Now, I realize one thing, I have 2 daughters, and that's about it. And my only thing was, when they were growing up, was I want to empower my 2 girls. I want to empower my 2 girls that tomorrow, no matter what happens, they are able to face the world on their own without any support. They can generate their own resources. I repeat, they can generate their own resources. They ought to be resourceful enough. Now, I was reading, because of the gender biases, are you aware that Rotary started in 1905, and till 1987, it was part of the memorandum that women were excluded from Rotary membership. I don't know if you people are familiar with that. It was written as part of the memorandum. The woman could not enter into Rotary till 1987. And how did she come in 1987? Because of a huge legal battle in the United States, eventually the US Supreme Court gave a judgment. And that is what opened the door for the woman to come into the Rotary. And that happened. And by the way, even today, as you and I talk right now, there is a club in New Zealand, in the Christchurch. There's one club which is all men only, and the guy takes pride, we're all men. And the women are not even coming there, because they say, if you're not welcome, to hell with it, we don't even want to go there. Okay, my point is, there are biases even today, and that is a fact. I just shared.
True.
New Zealand, one club is a bias. They are keeping women out there on purpose. Now, that is one side of the picture, but there is another side of the picture. There are people like the managing director of Daikin, and my daughter, in fact, gave me this information yesterday, and they said that this guy, managing director of Daikin, has set up a whole manufacturing facility, which is called all-woman manufacturing facility, all women. And they've employed almost 500-600 women there, and that is one of the highest producing plant for them in India, for Daikin.
That's true.
Highest producing plant. Now, again, I come back. Is that a woman issue? Is that a woman issue? So anyway, what I am looking at is, yes, there are issues, but the very fact that people like you, all of you, have gotten together and formed this organization that you have, that itself shows that how many people are role models. I have known Neeta Bhuchra for a while, and I personally feel that people, many on the panel right here, you are tremendous role models. Everybody does not have to be a Margaret Thatcher. Everybody does not have to be a Golda Meir. You know something? Each one of you are a tremendous role model, and that is how things keep moving all the way. That is the only way, and there's no other way, and that's it. And all these people, like Margaret Thatcher, Golda Meir, and Rosa Parks, they showed initiative and guts. Two things, initiative and guts, and third thing is clarity of thinking, clarity of thinking. There is no confusion. Only when we have clarity of thinking, we have guts to stand up. And when we are strong on our values, we have guts to stand up. When we are not strong on values, we do not have guts to stand up again. Okay, now, in fact, within the CII, the chapter on the IWN, Indian Women Network, my daughter is going to be chairing now. Another 3 months, she'll be the chairperson in Delhi. Now, the way I see it, I think everybody and the kind of networking that they have built within their own group, it's unbelievable. Now, does that mean, do I advocate proportional representation in a board? Answer is absolutely not. I repeat, do I advocate proportional representation in a board? Answer is no. If we do proportional representation anywhere, we will destroy merit. We will destroy merit. Well, if 70% women can do a better job, well, so be it. Let them have more 70% representation. Why should men be there? And if men can be 70%, okay, so be it. You cannot destroy merit. So looking at that aspect, I personally feel that it all starts from people who have the guts, clarity, values, and the vision to take it forward. And folks, keep one thing in mind. Some things will remain disproportionate. You know why? Because nature did it. 100% of children are biologically born to women. There are certain things that will happen. And even in the medicine, in the US, we had another firm which I sold my company, and I addressed the Orthopedic Association, Orthopedic Surgeons Association, and I found almost more than 95% were all men. Orthopedic surgeons were all 95% men. Now, I find in certain areas like psychology or psychiatry, and at the same time in the field of HR or even in the field of pathology, I find there is a big percentage of women there. Why is that? I know my own niece is a doctor in Washington, Seattle, and she took up a psychiatry as a whole thing. I said, why did you take psychiatry and pediatrician? She said, you know, uncle, I took it because that gives me the option of 9 to 5. I'm not called in the middle of the night. And if I have family and kids, I won't have to run in the middle of the night. So I chose that. So automatically, there are certain elements that come in. The family becomes crucial, and especially somehow or the other, women influence the children a lot more than men, no matter how smart and big men they are. But women influence the children a lot more. Hence, somehow or the other, there is a tilt and a slant to those professions no matter what. And there will be a certain disproportionate element on that side. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not. Okay. Now coming to the pandemic that we are talking of. How do we overcome the current stress level that this crisis has created all of us? Overcrowded hospitals, shortage of supplies, orders getting canceled, factories are closing, death rate going up, and unemployment going up. This scenario has literally shaken up the whole world. Now, with that, it has caused a lot of uncertainty. The uncertainty has caused a lot of stress. Now, folks, all I can say is stress is both normal and natural. Anybody who says they have no stress, they belong to a lunatic asylum. Stress is normal and natural. And folks, all stress is not bad. In fact, the athlete at the Olympics, if he was not under stress, there's no way he can perform. And an example that I can think of is that I bet you people must have seen in the movies or in the real life. Have you been to the race course and have you noticed the thoroughbreds, when they are taken into the cabin, how are they walking? They don't walk straight. They're jumping like this. Why are they jumping? They're under very heavy stress. And they take them into the cabin and they get locked in. And the moment the bell rings, what do? They shoot, they run. Now that's a thoroughbred. Now, but you take a jackass to the race course. This jackass walks so cool, so comfortable, so relaxed. This jackass is walking casually. This jackass is not jumping like up and down like the thoroughbred. But then he will remain a jackass for the rest of his life. He will never perform like a thoroughbred. Now hear this carefully, folks. Stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. I repeat, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. Now, think about it. Binoo, all of us can handle stress. All of us can handle stress. You know what? What we cannot handle is chronic stress. I repeat, all of us can handle stress. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. When stress becomes chronic, that is the time we start breaking down. You see, there's a little saying, you see, can you stay motivated permanently? Answer is no. See, somebody said, well, laughter is a good medicine. Hey, I repeat, laughter is a good medicine. But you know something? When you're laughing permanently, then you need medicine. Hey, you need medical help if you're laughing permanently. There's something wrong with you, man. Same thing. Stress is not natural and normal. We can now think about it. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? I repeat, identical circumstances. How come some people break records while others break themselves? How come? So is it the situation that causes stress, or is it our attitude towards situation that causes stress? Identical circumstances. Now, this crisis has impacted us three ways. One, our life. Two, our livelihood. And three, our lifestyle. How has it impacted our life? Folks, none of us know who will be in quarantine next. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. And two, what we do, where we go, and who we meet could be a matter of life and death. Are you with me, Nita? See, where we go, who we meet, what we do could be a matter of life and death. That is life. And two, livelihood. Now, pretty much there's job cut, salary cut everywhere. Businesses have closed. Even governments are going bankrupt because they're not collecting any taxes. This is a real issue. And the worst hit are the poor people. And the mediocre people, the super rich, they don't have a problem. You see, Apple Computers has $250 billion in cash reserve. They don't have a livelihood problem. Adani, Ambani, Birla, Tata, I'll be surprised if they have a cash flow problem. Now that leaves people in the mediocre, people like me and some other listeners. The mediocre people are thinking, will the crisis finish before the money? Or will the money finish before the crisis? I repeat, will the crisis finish before the money, or will the money finish before the crisis? Now everybody's talking of work from home, work from home, work from home. Now the big question is, can everybody work from home? Answer is no. You see, maybe in IT people can, but how do you work from home in a construction industry? How do you work from home in a manufacturing industry? You cannot. Now, I had a banker visit me the other day, and I asked him, you're paying salaries. Can you justify paying those salaries working from home? And you know what his answer was? He said, Mr. Khera, the 80-20 rule applies. And the 80-20 rule says that only 20% people are responsible who can work without supervision. They're mature enough. 80% are not. And he said, 80% still need supervision. Even if you give them measurable targets, you still need to supervise. And sadly, people who are not mature, they think working from home is a paid vacation. It's not. Working from home is not a paid vacation. Okay, now, one is life, two, our livelihood, three, our lifestyle. Let me share with you the third component is the lifestyle part. You see, till the lockdown came in, all of us were in the fast lane. We were all running, all of us were running. Where we were going, we didn't know, but we were running all right. We had no time. We had no time. Now look at this. The amount of time-saving devices we have today, we have never had that many in history, and yet we don't have what? We don't have time. You know why? Because somewhere we messed up our priorities. I'm not giving lectures here. I'm guilty myself. I messed my priorities too. And when we mess up our priorities, we forget to distinguish between what's urgent in life and what's important in life. Now, urgent may or may not be important, and important may or may not be urgent. But the funny thing is, whenever we ignore what is important, it converts into urgent. Look at this. Health is important, but it's not urgent. Exercising every day is important, but it's not urgent. Now, if I have a crucial meeting tonight, I cannot exercise. It's not the end of the world. But if I ignore my health long enough, guess what happens? I will land up in the hospital. See, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. Now, remember, in life, relationships are important, but they're not urgent. But if you ignore relationship long enough, guess what happens? You start talking through your lawyers. Are you with me? You ignore relationship long enough, guess what happens? You start talking through your lawyers. You ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. And one more thing, this crisis has done is, it has actually made people realize their priorities. You ask people, why do you go to work? I work for my family. Why do you work hard? I work hard for my family. Who are the most important people in your life? My family. Who are the most neglected? Also my family. What a joke. The most important people many times become the most neglected too. And that is sad. But this crisis, what it has done is, it has put people to take a step backwards and reevaluate the priorities. And they realize, till now, we were running. Now they realized, were we running in the right direction? And now they realize that in life, direction is much more important than speed. I repeat English language. In life, direction is much more important than speed. And this crisis has done one more thing, and that is, it has made people reevaluate their discretionary and non-discretionary spending. And we kept hearing till now, cash is king. Nita, we hear cash is king, cash is king, cash is king. Did we understand the meaning of cash is king? Now people have realized that it is better to have money in the bank than to have 50 shirts in your closet. It is better to have money in the bank than buying a car worth $250,000. Now people have understood the meaning, what is cash is king. Okay. Then I just want to share one thing, very crucial. The one comparison that came in was the Great Depression of 1929. Bank failed. Stock market crashed. The people lost their savings. 15 million people in the US got unemployed 100 years ago. Now, 15 million then is equivalent to 60 million today in the US, because population in the US was only 120 million at that time. Now, what is the silver lining? This is very important, Binoo. What is the silver lining? The studies have shown and experience have shown all over the world that whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. I repeat, whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. Now, at the Great Depression time, there were some people who started their business. They had no money, no education, no technology, no risk-taking ability. But they had one thing, they were solution-focused people. And today they're household words. You know something, there are some people, Hina, who are problem-focused. You know what that means? You give them a solution, they'll give you a problem. They have a problem for every solution. Henry Ford said, kick them out, kick them out, kick them out. We're not stupid. We understand there are problems in life. We need solution-focused people. And these people are solution-focused. I'm going to share only 3 examples with you in the interest of time. One was a man by the name of George Jenkins. In his neighborhood, started an outlet for non-perishable durable goods. Nita, these 2 words are very important, non-perishable durable, because if they perish, means total loss. And durable means if he was not able to sell, at least the family could use, because they had no risk-taking ability. This is how he started. And today, his turnover is $30 billion. His net worth is over $6 billion. And he has 1,000 outlets in the US, and the store is called Public Supermarket. You can Google it. Second example was two brothers in California, Gallo brothers. They were struggling. They caught hold of some grapes, made wine out of it, but nobody would buy it. They started selling the wine at 50% below market. This is how they started 100 years ago. And today, Gallo Wineries in the US accounts for 25% of the wine trade in the US. And the valuation is close to $10 billion. Third example was a man by the name of Simplot. He had a patch of land, he was cultivating potatoes. Now, what he couldn't sell, they ate. What he couldn't eat, they started rotting. He could not afford the loss of rotten potatoes. He started freezing them. This is how he started 100 years ago. And today, he accounts for 33% of the French fries business in the US. Highest customer being McDonald's, and his valuation is over $12 billion. Now, I don't want to leave people with the impression that you and I start any business, we'll become billionaires. That is not the message. The message is only one thing, that all these people, remember, all these people, they had major setbacks. They had major problems, and many of them had greater problems than you and I could even ever think of. But you know something? They were solution-focused people. And problem will come even in the future. This is not the end of the problem. But we need people who are solution-focused people. Think about it. I will repeat. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Okay, now, I share with you some steps how to overcome this crisis. I'm going a little fast in the interest of time.
Sure.
How to overcome this crisis. Normally, I have 9 steps, but I will see if I can cover at least 4 or 5 if I can. And the crucial ones, I will. And I'll go a little slow. If you want to take them down, please do so. And the first step is, and to overcome any crisis. And now why I share this? Because in my own life, I have had 3 major crises where in my life I went into minus, big minus. What helped me come back is what I'm going to share today. And I'm not that educated. My academics saw, I'm a BCom 3rd division, failed in my 10th. That's my academics. And I come from a business family. We had coal mines in India, close to 1,000 people working for us. I didn't create them, I inherited them. And the mines got nationalized, the government took over. And right from being a mine owner, we came on the street means street. Now, some families had money, our family did not. My father died when I was in college. We were left with the liabilities and the assets were gone. And I was married only 4 weeks then. And I remember a year later, my daughter was born. And I sold some of the last piece of my mother, Julie, to get released from the hospital. I did not have $10 to buy milk that night. I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money, and I failed in all 3. Finally, November 13, 1975, I left India. I went to US, initially went to Toronto, and I started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars door to door. For about a year, I was washing cars on the street, and I was sleeping on the floor. And totally by accident, I got into selling life insurance. And within less than 90 days, my manager called me to fire me for non-performance. Now, at that time, there were some things that turned around. And after that, I started hitting $1 million sales and multi-million-dollar producer, moved on to the US, got into 3 businesses. I bought out a company out of California in 1984, started a New Jersey operation with no clients, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. So I will share what was the learning that came in. Now, step one, the first learning that came in was, I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book Power of Positive Thinking. There were about 1,000 people. I was one of them. And Dr. Peale came in and he said, you people appear so cool, calm, comfortable. It appears nobody has a problem here. So he asked, does anyone have a problem here? Everybody raised their hand. Who does not have a problem? Then he said, how many people would like to get rid of their problem? Again, everybody raised their hand. And then Dr. Peale said, while I was coming here, I came across a place where I saw some people. They were lying down, all stretched out, totally comfortable, totally relaxed. They had no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to know where that place is? Again, everybody raised their hand. And then Dr. Peale said, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. There are people lying there, all stretched out, totally comfortable, totally relaxed. They have no problem whatsoever. Then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of the problem? Nobody raised their hand. Everybody put their hand in the pocket. And then Dr. Peale said, remember, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we shall have problems. The day we don't have problem, we'd be dead. And when you're running short of problems, that is a time to get on your knees and pray to God. If you stop trusting me anymore, send me some problems. And that day he gave a prayer, which is called the Serenity Prayer. And in my opinion, that is the crux of life. And in the past 45 years, I have never left my home without my prayer. And I have come across many adverse situations, and this prayer has helped me overcome those adversities. And the prayer goes like this: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. I'll repeat one more time. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. If you analyze and dissect this little prayer, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Now, question is, can we change everything in this world? Answer is no. Do we control everything the way we want it? Answer is no. There are many things beyond, such as, I didn't choose my parents, neither did you. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, and neither did you. If this is my height and the color of my skin, there's nothing I can do. And granted, there are some people who are born deformed. And sometimes bad things happen to good people for no fault of their own. What wrong did they do? Who knows? How did this crisis come? Who knows? So it says, what I cannot change, let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. Because many times in life, we keep fighting the things we just cannot change, and we bring stress into our lives, and we become paralyzed, and we become unproductive. So it says, what I cannot change, let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. And if I can change, then give me the guts to do it. And 3, wisdom to know what I can and what I cannot. Now, when I wrote my new book, You Can Achieve More, which was launched in London last year, I took this thought 2 steps forward. And I wrote in that life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. It seems like a contradiction, but not really. How is life full of choices? See, Binoo, if I ill-treat you, I've chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I? If I treat you with discourtesy, I've chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? If I light up a cigarette, I've chosen to invite cancer, haven't I? If I drink and drive, I've chosen to invite an accident, haven't I? And if I exercise every day, I've chosen to invite good health, haven't I? And if I eat too much every day, I've chosen to be obese, haven't I? And if I tell lies, I've chosen to lose my credibility, haven't I? And if I tell the truth, I've chosen to be a credible person, haven't I? Look at this. Life is full of choices. Now, this is crucial. We are all free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. I repeat, we are only free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. Now, how is life full of compromises? As somebody said, in life, we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us. What we can choose is how we play the game. And sometimes nature gives us a lemon. The choice is ours. Do we cry or do we make lemonade? That is our choice. Now, many times people ask me, Mr. Khera, people who are successful, don't they make mistakes in life? And people who fail in life, don't they do positive things in life? And my answer is that people who succeed, they do make mistakes. But remember, making a mistake once in a while does not make anybody a failure. Repeating the same mistake again and again, it is what brings failure. And doing something positive once in a while does not bring success either. Repeating the same positive behavior again and again is what brings success. So what is success? Series of positive choices in life is called success, and series of negative choices in life is called failure. That is one part. Now, step two. Step two is how do we convert wasted time to productive time? Convert your downtime to uptime. Nelson Mandela was in jail for 27 years. Somebody asked Mandela, how did you survive 27 years? Nita, the answer Mandela gave was amazing. And Mandela said, I was not surviving, I was preparing. 27 years in jail. He said, I was not surviving, I was preparing. How do you convert wasted time to preparing time? Here is it. In the US, before the crisis, there was a survey conducted which said an average American watches 4 hours of TV per day, 4 hours. And by the way, it's not the average American, European, Australian, Indian, everybody, 4 hours. Right now, there are people watching 10 hours of TV per day. So somebody asked a guy who was watching TV 4 hours per day, how much did this TV cost you? He said, $1,000. He said, you don't know how to calculate. He said, have you ever calculated what is your hourly rate, money-wise? He said, if I make $100,000 per year, I work 2,000 hours per year, my hourly rate comes to $50 an hour. And he said, if you are 4 hours of TV per day, $50 multiplied with 4, that is $200 per day. Multiply 365. Do you know this TV is costing you $85,000 per year, which is more than your EMI on $1 million home? You don't know how to calculate things in life. Now, don't get me wrong. We all watch TV, it enjoys, we like it, it relaxes us, nice movie. But watching 4 hours per day, what the hell are you doing? You are wasting your life, that's all. Now, how do you convert wasted time to productive time? In my book, You Can Achieve More, I have mentioned a survey that globally 85% of millionaires and billionaires today are first generation. Only 15% from inheritance, 85% are first generation. And they were asked, how did you gain so much financial success in such a short time? And you need to hear the answer. And they said, we read books. How many books? 50 books a year. 50 books a year means 1 book a week. 1 book a week. And why is that? They said, a good book gives us wisdom of ages in a capsule form. And we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are people who have followed that path, become successful, avoid pitfalls. And they were asked, do you read fiction? He said, no, we have no time to waste. We only read self-help books, only self-help. And reason was given, one good idea is worth $1 million. They read 50 books a year, one book a week. Folks, Warren Buffett, you go check out on his Wikipedia, he reads 6 to 8 hours per day. Bill Gates is an avid reader. What does it tell us? There is a big connection between learning and earning and learning and earning and learning and earning. Learn more, earn more, learn more, earn more. And there are people who say, I have no time. They have no employment, no job, nothing. They still have no time. They said, I will buy books when I have the money. Hey, you can get every book for free in a library, but they will never do it. And I learned one more thing, that a serious reader will never borrow or lend books. They never borrow or lend books. Many times people come and tell me, Mr. Khera, I got a great book. I can lend it to you. I said, don't. Give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me. Don't lend it to me. Why? I said, I will not give it back to you. Why? Because when I read a book, I underline, make notes on the side. Why? I learned one thing. Reading a good book once is not good enough. Why? Because when you read a good book the second time, you don't find anything new in the book, but you find something new in yourself. You read the third time, you don't find anything new in the book, you find something new in yourself. And the fourth time, fifth time, sixth time. Now, Arrow Electronics, $26 billion company in the US, they're my clients. The managing director attended our program 15 years ago, and he bought our books and he gave it to all the employees. And he said, Mr. Khera, when I took managing director of Arrow Electronics, we had 2% market share. And today they have 20% market share. And they celebrated the bumper last quarter. During the lockdown, $2 billion in sale. He said, we have never had it like this. And he said, every year, we read your book. I've read your book 15 times. And he says, I can tell you what is written in what page. And there are many people who tell me, I've read your book once. I said, you wasted your time and money. You wasted your time and money too. There are books I read 6, 7, 8 times. Folks, we need to learn to convert wasted time to productive time. Now, one more thing is, next one is, you want to overcome any stressful crisis, build strong relationships in life. I repeat, build strong relationships in life. Folks, our greatest asset is not our bank balance. Our greatest asset is our relationship balance. Why do I say that? Have you noticed one thing? That people who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. Are you with me? I repeat, people who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. And you see, there are many business schools today. They're teaching how to network. Go network. They join Chamber of Commerce's, they join Rotaries, Lions, everywhere. And you ask them, what are you doing? I'm networking. Even probably there are people networking. You know something? And then you ask, why are you networking? I am building contacts. I'm building contacts. Now remember one thing. There's a big difference between building contacts versus building relationships. I repeat, there's a big difference between building contacts versus building relationships. And you ask them, why are you building contacts? The answer is, someday he could be useful. He's a doctor, he's a lawyer, he's a politician, IAS, mafia, who knows what. Keep contacts, someday he could be useful. Usefulness goes, friendship goes. In life, you can never build relationship with people like that. Why? Because they're only looking to take something out of you. They're selfish rascals, parasites. You can never build a relationship with these people. Now, I remember we have an office in Singapore, and I came from dinner one evening, and one person met me in the lobby, and he says, "You came from dinner, met some people?" I said, "Yes." And his first thing was, "I hope you met some people who could be useful to you." I felt like giving him a piece of my mind and something else. His only one thing was, "I hope you met some people who could be useful to you." His only criteria was meeting people to extract usefulness. He is only looking to extract usefulness. He does not understand that meeting good people in life is good enough. Are you with me? Usefulness is a byproduct of relationship. I repeat, English language. See, you see, I repeat one more time. Meeting good people is good enough. See, if I have a friend of 20 years and he has a problem tonight, who is he going to go to? Most natural person is the friend of 20 years. He's not going to make new friends tonight. Is it my duty to help? Answer is yes. And if I help, am I doing a favor? No. Remember, helping a friend is a duty of a friend. It is never the purpose of friendship. Because if it is the purpose finishes, friendship finishes. I repeat, helping each other is a duty of a friend. It is incidental to friendship, never the purpose of friendship. Never, never, never. And you can only build relationships in life if we are willing to add a value addition to another person's life. I repeat, if I am not adding value addition to another person's life, I can never build a relationship. And how do you add value addition? The only way to add value addition is you need to learn to give in life. Remember, you need to learn to give in life. You can't be a taker. And remember one thing, relationships are built on what? Mutual respect. You hear the word tolerance. You should be tolerant, tolerant, tolerant. In my vocabulary, tolerant is a stupid word. I'll tell you why. I and my wife live together, not because we can tolerate each other. We live together because we respect each other. The day respect for each other goes, we can't live together. You know, if we live only because we can tolerate each other, it's a matter of time before we part. Same thing, employer and employee work long together, not because they can tolerate each other. If they're working together because tolerate each other, the moment they get a choice, they'll pack up and quit. They work together long term because they respect each other. Are you with me? Are you with me? You know something, I've been doing corporate training for the past 35 years with Lufthansa, Johnson & Johnson, and many places. And I've learned one thing, that when we do corporate training, we tell in our corporation that, look, to our clients, what we are doing in your corporation is repair work, repair work, repair work. If you prepare them, you won't have to repair them. Where do you prepare them? You prepare them in schools and colleges. And sadly, our schools and colleges are not doing the job. You see, what I have shared in the last 1 hour, you show me, Nita, any one school or college in this world which is teaching all this stuff. Nowhere. Nowhere. And the dean of James Cook University from Australia attended our program. And he said, Mr. Khera, I've been teaching for the past 35 years. He's the dean of business school. He said, I haven't seen anything like this. And immediately he signed a partnership with us. And he said, we want you to set up a center of leadership excellence for us in the Singapore campus, which we are doing there right now. And we created a program for schools and colleges which says, prepare them, don't repair them. I repeat, prepare them, don't repair them. I repeat, prepare them, don't repair them. If you don't prepare them, you'll have to repair them. Are you with me?
Yep.
Now, I know Anish is there, and I know he's ready to give me the time component, and you people are pretty.
We have two minutes, sir. You can.
Well, in 2 minutes, I can neither start anything or nor finish anything.
Sum up.
Can I thank you then?
Buddy, for that, I just let it go. But, you know, I normally have 9 steps, but I've just been able to cover only 2 steps. But maybe another day I want to thank Neeta. Had she not been here, probably I would not be sitting here. She's the one who brought me in here. I'm grateful to you and
Thank
to
you.
people. Stay healthy. And I don't know if I've added any value to you.
You have. I think this whole thing about learn to earn, the whole thing about building relationship, I think they are very, very useful mantras. And, in a crisis like this, so lots of life is about choices. Absolutely. So lots of thoughts I'm sure people have taken back from you. So really honored and thanks a ton for sharing your views with us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Khera. I think
Right?
we've taken away so much in the last hour. But what I think I have taken away from, sir, on a lighter note, I think when you started and you said there's a helicopter that can only take 10 people, I think it's a good opportunity for the Indian government to buy new helicopters. We should not focus on the Rafales of the world, but I think a good chance for us to buy.
What a speech that woman gave. And they said we should give an ovation. And she was the one who made it.
Who made the sacrifice. I think this is a good chance for us to buy new choppers for the government. But thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Genuinely appreciate it. And something that we've all learned, small bits and pieces that we've all picked up from. And thank you, Neeta. Thank you, Niru. Thank you, Radha. And thank you, Hina, for being here as a captive audience for Mr. Khera. Thank you, Shilpa. Um, Binoo, I think you have to head out, so we will see you. I'm going to ask everyone to take a couple of minutes for a bio break, and we do have our next session that goes live in exactly 5 minutes from now. I will take a minute now to remind everyone that we do have, like we have been saying, we have a leaderboard. This is the last session, the last active session, following which we have a short video and we have a vote of thanks from the organizers. So this effectively then becomes your last live session for everybody to join at 4:20. That is in 5 minutes from now. This is your last chance to sort of like and share and sort of send sort of meeting requests to everyone so that you can get on top of the leaderboard. Use our hashtags to post on the social media for the conference. Do take a minute to ponder upon how you have probably led with grit and grace. Share that anecdote with us so that we can take this time to sort of share that email. So that's, I think, conference.talentnomics@gmail.com. When you share that email with us, tomorrow is the last date for you to send out that email. Tell us when you've led with grit and grace so that we can sort of come back to you. And we are going to pick the top three people for that story. Aparna has been talking about the leadership board. So yes, that's the end of this session. I will thank Mr. Shiv Khera's team as well. Yeah, so we will see you all in exactly 5 minutes. Do click on the join now session. That should be live, and see you all. Thank you.